They thought her death would bring peace. They thought when the Queen Mother finally closed her eyes, the blood would stop flowing in France. But Catherine de Medici had one more breath left, and with it, she would do worse than all her enemies feared. Before we dive into the final harrowing days of Catherine de Medici, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell. This isn't just history, it's the kind of truth that shakes thrones. January 1589. Chateau de Blois groaned under the weight of wet winter fog. In the north wing, behind a shuttered window and thick drapery, the Queen Mother lay dying, but no one had officially said it out loud. Not yet. The court tiptoed, as if death wouldn't come if they whispered. The room stank of lavender and mold. 2 candles flickered beside a bed that once hosted kings. Now it held a pale, breathless shape, bundled in silk and fur. Her face, usually powdered, sharp, expressive, was swollen at the jaw, the skin gray. Her hands gripped nothing but trembled as if holding daggers still. She hadn't eaten in days. Her physicians had bled her, given her gold leaf tinctures, made her chew ground pearls. She spat everything out. Her voice, when it came, rasped like old parchment. Is he here? He meant her son, King Henry III. But he wasn't. Not yet. He delayed, fearing infection, fearing the moment itself. He'd sent a priest, a letter, a bouquet. Catherine opened her eyes. Clouded, red-rimmed but alert. A priest, she hissed. How brave of him. In the corner, her Italian servant Gabriele watched silently. He had been with her since Florence. He knew the signs, the convulsions, the bitter breath, the chill of someone who sees beyond the room. Gabriele, she croaked. Bring the letters. He hesitated. The ones you... Yes. He pulled out a small iron chest from under her traveling trunk. Inside, wax-sealed scrolls, some royal, some anonymous, all dangerous. She chose one with a trembling finger. If I die tonight, she said slowly, you must send this. At dawn. Not before. He nodded. His face betrayed nothing. But as he folded the letter in fresh parchment and tied the red ribbon, he saw the signature. It wasn't hers, it was Henry's, a Hamasitvani. She was still playing. That night the Queen Mother screamed, not of pain, but of memory, of voices no one else could hear. One court lady fainted, another fled the room. Catherine, sweating through her sheets, began to whisper names. Guise, Navarre, Anjou, Coligny, enemies, allies, corpses. Gabriele dabbed her forehead. You must rest. There's no rest, she said. Not for me, not yet. Outside, snow began to fall over Blois. The guards pulled their coats tighter. None knew it yet, but in that room above them, history was about to shift. Not with a bang, but with a whisper from the lips of a dying queen. They came in silence. Not through the door, but through her mind. In the half-light of dawn, Catherine lay still, her body sinking into the mattress like it wanted to disappear. Her breath rattled, short and shallow. The priest had come and gone. He whispered Latin over her like it might help. It didn't. She hadn't moved since the last seizure. But her eyes were open, wide and watching. Gabriele sat beside her, holding her hand. Cold, stiff, curling. He whispered her name sometimes, not expecting an answer. But just after the 3rd hour, she spoke. They're in the room. He froze. Who, Your Majesty? Look, she said, barely audible. He followed her gaze, but the chair was empty. The fire burned low. Shadows flickered, but there were no shapes. Then she whispered, He's soaked in blood, and he still stinks of smoke. Her lips moved again. Gaspard de Coligny. Gabriele's heart stopped. She hadn't said that name in years. Do you know what he said to me before they tore him apart? She asked, voice brittle, eyes unblinking. He said, "Madame, you made peace a sin." She laughed once, dry, humorless. Gabriele didn't speak. She turned her head slowly. "He's not alone. The others are here now." There was a pause. Her breathing hitched. "Charles is crying," she whispered. "My boy, my sweet, sick boy. He's still afraid of what he did." A tear slid from her left eye, but she didn't feel it. "I told him it was necessary, that the Huguenots were plotting, that blood now meant peace later." A violent tremor shot through her shoulder. Gabriele reached to steady her. She slapped his hand away with a sudden burst of strength. "Don't touch me like I'm finished." She sat upright. Her back was bent like a broken bow. Her breath labored, but her eyes burned now. "I know what they all want," she hissed. "They want me to beg, to break, but I won't. I regret nothing." "You gave France everything," Gabriele said gently. "I gave it control," she corrected. "And they call me a poisoner? A witch?" Her voice rose, cracked, then fell again. "I gave them order. I gave them rules. Without me, they'd tear each other to pieces." She pressed her fingers against her chest. "And now they will." Her hand dropped. Her body sagged again. Gabriele leaned closer. "Your Grace." Her whisper came low. "I see the cardinals." They turn their faces. Even they won't look at me now. And then, tell Henry I forgive him, and then tell him nothing. Let him wonder. Gabriele blinked. She smiled. "That's the punishment." The room went still again. Her eyes closed for the first time in hours. But in her silence, the storm behind her lids only worsened. And the ghosts refused to leave. By midday, the sky had turned the color of ash. Inside the chateau, the fire in Catherine's chamber had long since died. No one dared relight it. The Queen Mother refused warmth, food, sleep, all things belonging to the living. But her mind burned. "Bring me ink," she rasped. Gabriele hesitated. "Madame, you need to rest." "I need to write." He brought the ink pot. She waved off assistance and pulled herself upright with a grunt, pain cracking through her ribs like frost on glass. Her fingers trembled, but she held the quill. She began to write. The letter wasn't for her son. Not directly. It was addressed to the Duke of Guise, the man who thought he had already won, the man who had crowned himself the future of France in her absence. The letter was brief. No instructions, no accusations, just 2 lines. One promise, one lie. When she sealed it, her hand smudged the wax, but the ribbon still held. She handed it to Gabriele. "Deliver this to the Duke, at once." "Your Majesty, if the king delays. He hesitates. He's always hesitated. But Guy's acts. He wants blood. Let him drink." She leaned back, breath ragged. "France will belong to whoever dares to burn first." He took the letter, left the room. She watched the door long after he vanished. Alone again, Catherine turned to the small mirror by her bedside. Her reflection looked foreign, a ruined map of the woman she'd once been. She chuckled bitterly. "I was never meant to be queen. A banker's daughter from Florence, married to a man who loved another woman. But I watched. I waited. I learned every face, every word, every silence." Her voice cracked. "I outlived them all." Then, softer. "But I should have killed Guys when I had the chance." A noise from the hallway made her head turn. Sharp, paranoid. Just servants, or spies, hard to say. Her ears rang constantly now. At the far end of the room, the curtains moved. No wind. "You again?" she whispered. The silhouette in the shadow looked like a boy, thin, crowned, eyes wide. "Charles." She blinked, and he was gone. "I told you to be strong," she muttered. "But you weren't. You died begging the saints to forgive you." She pressed a hand to her temple. I did it for you. For all of you. For France. Even if it meant destroying it first. By nightfall, the chateau felt like a mausoleum. Catherine's chamber reeked of vinegar and rotting wood. No doctor had returned. No priest had dared stay. The Queen Mother's breath came in bursts, like someone surfacing from drowning. Her skin was wet. Her hair clung to her skull like dying roots. But her eyes burned like coals that refused to go out. The letter to the Duke of Guise had been sent, but another one, still hidden beneath her mattress, waited. A letter with a seal only Henry III would recognize, not to warn him, not to guide him, but to trap him. Catherine believed in control. If death came, it would find her with a knife in her hand, even if it was made of ink. She whispered to the room, though no one responded. They think they will inherit peace. Her hand twitched. I left them poison. From the corridor, Gabriele returned, face pale. Well, she asked. He received it. And? He smiled. She laughed, hoarse, painful but real. Good. Let him think he's won. But the victory would burn before it reached the gates of Paris. She gripped the side of the bed, trying to rise, but her knees buckled. Gabriele caught her. There's something wrong, he said. Your skin, it's darkening. I'm dying. Number, I've seen this before, in Naples, in the brothels. This isn't sickness, it's poison. He looked at her, horror dawning. Someone has... No. Her voice was iron. I did it. He stared at her. She closed her eyes. Slow poison? Daily. Just a drop. Since autumn. Why? To ensure I would die on my own terms. He stepped back, speechless. You think I would let my enemies watch me rot? Let my death become a spectacle? Number, I die as I choose, and I take the crown with me. She pulled a small satchel from under her pillow. Black powder, wrapped in linen. Enough to kill a man in a day, or a queen in a season. I've seen too many coffins, Gabriele. I won't lie in one like a dog. She coughed, a dark stain at the corner of her mouth. Then, faintly, send the last letter. Before dawn. To the king? Yes. What does it say? She looked at him, and for the first time her voice broke. It tells him I trusted him. The lie would be enough. The bells of Blois rang at sunrise. Not for mourning, not yet. The court didn't know. Only Gabriele did. And the letter he carried. Catherine de Medici had died in the early hours, mouth half open, eyes rolled back, fingers twisted like claws against the linen. She hadn't screamed, she hadn't prayed. She'd stopped breathing as if ending a sentence, deliberate, final, unrepentant. But before she passed, she whispered one last thing. Not to Gabriele, to no one. Let them burn. Now the letter reached the king. Henry III sat alone, pale from fever, robe stained with sweat. He broke the wax, unfolded the paper. One page, one sentence. My son, do not trust the Duke of Guise. He comes for your throne. Henry read it twice. Then he ordered Guise arrested. Within hours, the Château de Blois turned into a slaughterhouse. Guards loyal to the king cornered the Duke in a corridor. He didn't resist. He smiled. He thought it was a jest. It wasn't. They cut him down on the stone steps. Blood soaked into the joints of the marble where Catherine had once walked, years ago, in full velvet and pearls. That same day, his brother, the Cardinal of Lorraine, was strangled in the castle's chambers. The nobility fled. France erupted. What Catherine's enemies hoped her death would bring, closure, peace, maybe even forgiveness, turned into the opposite. Her final letter had been the spark, and her funeral was the first funeral in a chain of hundreds. The people said the Queen Mother died peacefully. They lied. She died with secrets unspoken, letters unsigned, vengeance in her veins. She died as she lived, wrapped in silence, but holding a dagger behind her back.